paint me like one of your French women. It's a bank holiday weekend. Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Extratyne on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. As you can see, we are down a woman and a man, and a man, but we're down either. Laura couldn't join us and Raza couldn't join us either. So thankfully, I'm joined by these two absolutely handsome devils. Ian, how are you feeling today?
Absolutely knackered from me. I was off work last week, so this week's just been horrendous. So I'm glad it's a bank holiday, extra day off.
Yes, beautiful thing. And Scott over there in Amsterdam, obviously you've just recovered from King's Day over there. Did you have a good King's Day?
I didn't do much because my fiance has to work them, so I just had a little walk around with a pooch. But yeah, it's not bank holiday for me. I've had my bank holiday on Wednesday.
Ah, yes.
There was a big rave outside though. There was a massive festival on. So I listened to that. People paying €50 to get in. It was like you could have just stood outside and heard it. It was exactly the same.
Yes, for those of you who don't know the history of Amsterdam and who don't know the history of the Netherlands, the 27th of April is King's Day, and it's an absolutely amazing day. Like King's Day Eve, that's good. We have a few good rave ups, but King's Day, it's a brilliant day. It's a national holiday, and everybody the whole city, whole country turns orange in celebration of the King. And the kids do little stalls on the streets and just sell bits and bobs, and they do little performances. And then Amsterdam and all the major cities are absolutely packed full of people. So if you ever get the chance to go over to Amsterdam or the Netherlands during King's Day, I highly, highly recommend it because it's absolutely banging. That and Gay Pride weekend, that's always a good one as well. Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, thank you to those people who are joining us this evening. We've got Tom, El Grande, we've got Geordie Tune for Life, and of course, I think this might be Chris, giving us a quick shout out to help us reach 200 members. For as little as £2.99 a month, you can become a Gallowgateshots member and gain access to all those lovely extra bits and bobs, like the Telegram group and of course the extra content that you get. So please, if you're not already a member, please go and join. It's £2.99 a month, and you get to see us in glorious HD on our various programs and things like that. So please get involved with that. So a little bit of we had to do very briefly just before we came on. We had to do a very quick costume change because we all logged on very late on, and we all had, gentlemen, can we just show what we had on? Yes, we were all daubed in Castor gear. Ian and I had the identical T-shirt on, and Scott had his jumper on. So I've got it changed. I've gone UEFA Cup style.
We looked like a Raji version of the Men in Black.
Yeah, or a really, really shit boy band.
Probably that
really
one.
Bad boy band. So anyway, so today, big announcement from the club. Something that had been probably spoken about for a long time. Knowing that certain contracts are coming towards an end, or they're getting to their point where that extra year might be enacted, and Fabian Schär has signed a 2-year extension to his contract. Scott, I'm going to come to you first on that one. Good news for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think 2 years is about right as well. I was worried it was just going to be a year extension, but I think when you're looking at some of the other centre backs that we've got, and maybe some of the other centre backs that will be moving on, I think Schär's probably one of the last ones that you'd be looking to shift. So, he's still regular in the Swiss international team. He still does an absolute job for us. He's got a little bit of a bromance with Dan Burn, it looks like. They're linking up well together. So, really happy, really pleased for him as well. It's good news. It's a nice one because there was a bit of doubt. I think before Eddie Howe came in, before the takeover, I think he was getting. He wasn't getting a game to start. I think he only started 2 games before Eddie Howe came in. So I think he was looking to move, and I think this change has been good for everybody. So good news.
Yeah. Ian, do you think that he's going to be a mainstay in the squad in the first team next season, or do you think he's just going to be there, sort of providing a bit of extra competition, because we have been linked with many centre backs. I know looks like Botman's on his way to AC Milan, but we're still getting linked in dispatches with various centre backs. So do you think Fabian Schär is going to be a permanent feature in the first team lineup next season?
It'll be interesting to see based on who we bring in. And also, if Eddie Howe wants to change the formation, he might want to go with 3 at the back. I definitely think, I agree with Scott, I definitely think out of the centre halves that we still have, he'd probably be, I'd say, second to last after Dan Burn, to want to sort of replace, shall we say. But it just shows, like you say, he had like a very slow start of the season, I thought, and always has like that sort of moment of madness in him, where, for the example being Man City, I think it was the quarterfinals of the FA Cup when we defended for our lives and then just decided to give them a penalty for the crack. But he's got his head down like many other players under Eddie Howe, and obviously his hard work and his performances, he looks like the solid player that I sort of, before he signed for it, was aware of. He looked very solid centre half, and he looked like that player again, and he got rewarded for his hard work, which, like you say, when the new owners came in, a lot of players were talking, oh well, this is a chance to prove it. And at the time you thought, I mean, given that you still had sort of Steve Bruce in charge, you were just thinking it's just words, basically. That, but no, he's knuckled down, and he's got rewarded. He's actually shown that he has put the effort in, and like I say, 2 years. I think he's 20. Is he 29 now?
Yeah.
So he's 2 years.
29, yeah.
Yeah. So I think probably look at doing that, seeing who we get in the next couple of years. He may even get, like, depending on his performances, obviously how it goes. He might even get like a year extension after that. But no, really good news. And also he's quite handsome. So
he is.
There's that.
I'm sure there was many hearts are fluttering when he did that. The very cool. I'm going to try and replicate it. And signing his name and then going.
Like, he's got a good blue steel, hasn't he?
Oh, he's got
blue
some
steel
steel on him. He's got some steel. And he has provided some steel now with defence as well. So there you go.
And goals as well.
And goals. Well, I was just about to say, part of the fact that you need, we haven't had this season, a player who's got over 10 goals, who's really pushed it because of Callum Wilson injury, and on some maximums, he hasn't really been as consistent this sort of back end of the season. Although I do think he was excellent the other day, and we'll chat about that in a moment. But it is good to have those goals around this. We can kind of look at Schär maybe and think, right, he might get 5 goals this season, which could make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. But I think I agree with Dan here about, it looks like the end for me. And I think, I think everybody's got to be realistic about it. Fede Fernandez been a good servant, but always been excellent when he's played, but he's not been fit. And Clark, I think, is one of those players who's been an excellent, fans will remember him very, very fondly, especially because he helped us discover that Joe Linton was the best midfielder in the entire world. But those players can go off, we'll get another move in this country or somewhere else, and, we can kind of wave them off kindly and say thank you very much for your service. And yeah, I think we'll see Lascelles, Schär, Burn, and maybe a new left back. Do you agree with that? A left-sided centre back. Scott, do you agree with that from Dan?
I do. I think 1 would be nice, and I think 2 might be the icing on the cake if we can get 2 decent centre backs, or even a young'un, like bring a young'un in from another side and let him learn off the 4 that would have left, or the 5 that would have left. Yeah, I mean, obviously you mentioned about Botman probably looking like he's going to AC Milan. I don't know what's happened with Diego Carlos. Was it Diego Carlos?
Yeah, from Seville.
He's not really a short type defender, though. He's more of a I'm quick and I can put a tackle in sort of player. So I don't know if he's what we need. But we'll see what happens. Like I say, this summer is going to be an absolute manic transfer window. But yeah, I think. I don't think the 4-3-3 is here to stay for next season, depending on the people that they bring in. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
I think Stu brings up a good point there, Ian, doesn't he, about pace and about, we're seeing the evolution of Eddie Howe's Newcastle United, and next season, as Scott just kind of alluded to there, we're probably going to see the end of, or a transition from this formation we're playing at the moment to something where we need a bit more pace from our centre back. So, like I say, I'm not sure about that Carlos. I don't know how quick he is. He looks very athletic, and he seemed very very handsome, and he had a stomach like a cheese grater. But
and he's Brazilian as well.
He's Brazilian.
We're basically just going to be Brazil next season.
Yeah, he ticks all those boxes. Dan as well. Another quite good point, actually. The most handsome 11. Maybe that's for one. Maybe it's when we get Laura back, because I'm sure she'll have some
she'll have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, she would hold back on her handsome 11. So maybe we start thinking that, put that on the back burner for now. But I'm not sure about a shout for Brian Kilcline. Although different strokes for different folks, we like what we like.
Some people like a beard.
They do, Scott, and that's why you do so well with the ladies, I'm sure. Yeah, so I think it's really good, a really good move for Newcastle. And do you think we're going to start to see a few of those other players getting tied down, like Paul Dummett, or do we think? We'll come on to him in a second. One of the Sean Longstaff as well. He's being spoken about quite a lot about his contract. He did quite an interesting interview with Matthew Raisbeck on BBC Radio Newcastle. So, Ian, do you think we're going to see, over the coming week? 2 weeks, we're going to start to see a few players getting signed to contracts, and that'll give us an indication of what the squad's going to look like next season.
I think it's a hard one to say, because there's a couple of players that probably aren't good enough for the squad, but when you're looking at it realistically, we've got still quite a lot of deadwood to shift out. So there's probably, I'd say maybe 2, 3, 4 players you would look to get rid of. In general, there's probably more than that for where we want to be, but it's baby steps for now. It's going to be with first summer going into a transfer window. You'd ideally like to just sort of get rid of the less good players.
The deadest wood.
The deadest of woods.
The kiln dried dead wood.
But yeah, I think in terms of the midfield as well, just speaking of Sean Longstaff, there's a lot of competition in midfield at the minute. Obviously, you've got Shelby, who's up his game massively. Isaac Hayden, who obviously is injured at the minute. It'd be interesting to see sort of what he can offer next season. You've got Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, who are literally the future of Brazil's football in the field. And then, so it's like I say, there is a lot of competition there. And I think it was an interesting point as well. I can't remember who made it in the group chat today, just about homegrown. With them, I don't know if they take up squad places.
Scott, I think it might have been Scott about European, getting a bit ahead of ourselves. But yeah, Scott, you talking about those homegrown players?
So we need 8 homegrown players in the Premier League squad. And moving on, like a couple of seasons' time, and if we do get into Europe, 4 of those 8 have to be actually trained at the club and come through the youth academy. The one thing I wasn't sure on, and I don't know if anyone in the comments can confirm, it says in addition to the 28-man squad. So I don't know if you name them additionally for UEFA Cup. I don't think you do. It was worded really weirdly when on the article I was reading, so I wasn't 100% on that. But in terms of the squad that will submit to the Premier League, you've got to have 8 homegrown. Obviously, youth players don't need to be registered, and I don't know if they count. I don't know if you can select them and they count towards that. But I think we're okay. I think we're clear of that by a long stretch. We've got a lot of players who have been brought through the ranks at other clubs and they count. There's not the rule of they have to be trained by Newcastle like there is in Europe.
All right, so I didn't realise that.
Hey, you learn something new every day. He's like the Oracle, isn't he?
He is the Scorical. We'll call him the Scorical. There's been a lot of talk. Obviously, there was a big word about Matt Targett in about 15 million a few months. Well, about a month and a half ago. That seems to have gone very quiet now. Although Eddie Howe did talk about him, I think, in the previous press conference before this one. Ian, do you think Target's gonna sign, or do you think, as El Grande is talking about here, he's going to want a left back who's more progressive going forward? Do you think Target's going to fit the bill for that, or do you think we're going to look? Maybe test the water with Villa, see if there's a price. If not, we're going to look elsewhere. What do you think?
Again, interesting to see how that'll pan out. It completely depends on what Howe wants to do next season, because like a lot of people have been saying, it's kind of like he's been forced into this formation with the players that he's had available. Personally speaking, I think Matt Targett's probably the best left back we've had since I'd go as far back as Jose Enrique. I think he's just a really solid player. Could he do a job at left wing back? I don't know. I haven't seen him playing in that role before. I'm sure maybe Villa fans will be able to, or even Southampton fans going as far back as that will be able to sort of comment on that. But I think if he's going to stick with the same system, then 100% I'd be all over Matt Targett, because I think very similar to Dan Burn. He's just like a no-nonsense. He does the basics right, and when you do the basics right, everything else flows. But obviously, in terms of his partnership with Saint-Maximin, it didn't work quite as well as what Trippier and Fraser did when they were starting. They had a really good sort of partnership. I don't know whether that's just Targett knows that Saint-Maximin would probably leave him wide open for a counter-attack, and he's a bit reluctant to get forward, or that's the way he's being coached. But he is a quality player. So I think, like I say, I think we'll see sort of where Jamal Lewis is as well, in terms of where his headspace is at, what they want to do with him, whether they want to progress him or move him on. Might test the water with Villa, or like I say, depending on if he's going to switch his formation, look at a more attacking left back or a wing back.
Yeah, I think that relationship, Scott, with our mercurial French winger Maxi, it's going to be really crucial, isn't it? We're going to need a left back who is, I mean, Matt Targett is, but super fit, super quick. You know, is Matt Targett going to be able to link up with Maxi? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure.
What
do you think?
I mean, you've seen it in games in the past, like the past 3 games. It's almost like Targett's been a bit reluctant to go forward because he knows, one, Maxi isn't going to help him coming back, or very rarely it's going to happen, and he can't rely on it. So because he doesn't know, I don't even think Maxi knows. But 2, also the centre midfielders, they seem to cover the right more than the left. Yeah, and I think it was only in the Norwich game when I think Shelvey had switched to the other side of the centre of the midfielder. He normally does, and he was covering a lot, and you saw Targett get forward a bit more. My opinion of Targett is he's been great for, and he's got Premier League experience, which obviously you cannot really buy elsewhere. But like, could we get better? You know, I mean, he came in on loan. He is 15 million, but you know, there's talks of Renan Lodi. There's probably going to be thousands of other rumours coming through. You know, do we settle with Matt Targett, or could we possibly upgrade him and get someone better, and then count on Jamal Lewis to be the backup? I know Eddie Howe has mentioned him a few times. You know, only they know. But again, you got to think, if it's only 15 million, is that someone you just bring on anyway, and then also look to get another one in? Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah,
I mean, I'll be really interested to see what the situation with Jamal Lewis is at the beginning of next season, well, pre-season, the beginning of next season, because for me, I liked him. I was a fan of him. I think he suffered under Steve Bruce, like many of our players did, and probably wasn't nurtured and looked after enough and coached well enough, because he had a good, you know, upbringing, if you want to call it that, from Norwich. You know, they have a good youth system, and he came through, and he was well liked. He was fancied by Klopp, so you know, that's a really, really ringing endorsement. So, you know, I think a lot of fans will be happy if we sign Targett, but if we don't, I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world, because we have got a lot more options now. Just a quick go to the comments. I think we've got somebody watching us from Cape Town. Slightly wrong badge on there, but we'll accept that because he's been very kind to us. So thank you very much. So a massive improvement from Man United. We've been playing better than Man United fans, so hopefully, and we're playing way better football than them apparently. So, I mean, I enjoyed Roy Keane rip Man United apart again yesterday on Sky. It's worth watching. I mean, I think everybody's taking a little bit of pleasure in that. So what's it? I can't. I'm going to try to say, what's the German word for it? Schadenfreude, I think it's called, isn't it? taking pleasure from other people's unhappiness. So, but thank you very much, Keenan from South Africa, for joining us as well. Davey Eddie joining us as well. Respect. There's only one United, of course. So we'll see. We shall see. I mean, we've been linked with so many left backs: Goossens, Bakker, Digne. So it could be a stopgap, but we'll, like we say, we shall find out. And we've got another international viewer as well, all the way from Nebraska, USA. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining us as well. Big shout out to you over there. Hope you should really link up with Shade. I know, well, not link up, probably online. You should link up with each other, but we have got a wing of the Newcastle fans over there from the Gallowgateshots stable. So please link up with those guys over there. Get in touch with them, and you can share your shared passion for Newcastle United, our fantastic football club. So, just going back a little bit to something you said, Scott, I think it was you, about Maxi. He's had a lot of criticism since Eddie Howe's come in, because there's been a big change and it's a more focus on the team. I feel like in the Palace game and in the Norwich game, it looked like the penny was beginning to drop. I think we talked about it the other day, but I think particularly in that Norwich game, the tracking back that he was doing. Now, whether that was because Norwich are a poor side, playing devil's advocate, maybe, they weren't particularly on it, perhaps. But Ian, were you encouraged by, Alan St-Maximum's? He was really, I mean, I don't know how you saw it, but I really enjoyed seeing him tracking back, getting involved, and he looks to become a more of a team player. Personified by his reaction to Miggy's goal against Palace, where he just absolutely lost it. So, Ian, do you think there could be a bit of a turn in the tide for Alan St-Maximum, or is he just coming back into good form?
I hope there's a turn in the tide. I think, because I was at the Palace game and I can't remember. I think it was extra time last week that I mentioned. I did notice him track back, and he looked to do the simpler things a lot more. So cutting back and not trying to literally take on the whole defense. Like, if he needs to get cut back and pass it back to his left back, then do that. Because that's what really frustrates you. You can see that there's a simple pass on, and he'll just try to do his own highlight reel. I do think, though, and even in terms of he's an attacking, even when he was in good form, it wasn't every time he got the ball something happened. I think his final product still needs a lot of work, to be quite honest. I think I looked, he scored 5 goals and 4 assists in 30 whatever games he's played. I think 35 games, might be a little bit less. So he does need to improve number. And I know there's players obviously that have worse stats than that. So he is one of the higher performers in terms of that. But for a player that wants to win the Ballon d'Or, however you pronounce it, the Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or.
If you're from Washington, that's what it is. But no, I think he does need to add more to his game. But like I say, that there has been an improvement, so I'm hoping that with the recent sort of performances that he's been given, he is starting to realise that it's not just about him. There's other players that can contribute as well, but it has been a little bit positive. There's obviously still room for improvement, but no, it has been a little bit more refreshing, because at the end of the day, you don't want. I don't hate him, but you don't want to dislike a player. You want to see a player being able to give his all and do really well. And I think, it obviously depending on the relationship that he has with Eddie Howe, obviously he can bring him on. But I'm fairly certain he said that Eddie Howe is a really good manager. He spends a lot of time with him, so you would hope that you would see a little bit more.
Twice in one contribution.
I keep saying it. You would like to think that he can be a more all-rounded player, and then obviously contribute more goals and assists going forward.
Yeah. I think Chris is saying there about having a great season, and I think we can all see the type of player that Alan St-Maximum is, and it wouldn't be out of the world of fiction for him to actually win the Ballon d'Or in the future, because the raw talent is absolutely 100% there. It's whether he can get his noggin screwed on, and whether we can play to get the most out of him and what he can contribute to us. So I think it's, he is a terrific player, and I think it's unquestionable that the talent he's got, but it's just making sure that he believes in the team and he believes in, what Eddie Howe is doing going forward. And I think as well, he's starting to see that the players that we've got and the players that we're going to sign are going to be of a level where he wants to pass them.
It'll suit, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. Obviously, if you sort of believe in yourself with the talent that he does have, would you rather that, or would you rather pass the ball to Jeff Hendrick? Like, I mean, I'm nowhere near St. Maximum's quality, but I'd rather fancy me chances than pass the ball to Jeff Hendrick. So there is a point there. But yeah, like I genuinely hope it does turn out for him. I hope he can be here another few seasons and obviously, hopefully, lead the team to bigger things.
Yeah. We have got on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel, we got a preview for the Liverpool game. So we're not going to sort of dive in completely into that one, but I think it's Friday before the game. We've already had a press conference. So Scott, we've got Geordie Tune for Life is discussing that Liverpool game, and how do you think we're going to play it? I mean, we saw Liverpool just played Villarreal, a very, very good side, coached by our possible new manager back in the day before Eddie Howe was announced. Do you think we're going to play that high line? Going to rely on pace and breaking Liverpool down? And I mean, it looked like Villarreal were trying to soak it up and trying to hit them on the break, but there are no, there's no getting around it. They're an absolutely awesome side. So what would be your approach, from your football manager head, with your football manager head on? What would be your approach against Salah, Mane, and that Colombian they've got? Oh my God, Diaz, I believe.
Unreal, him.
Absolutely.
Such a good player.
Yeah.
What would be your approach? What do you think? I suppose what would be your approach, and what do you think? We'll come on to what we think Eddie Howe might do. What would you do?
I would probably play a high line. I would play Wood though. I do think we need height because they've got Van Dijk, and you can't be playing balls in to really anyone in terms of feet, because you're not going to get past them and you're not going to beat them in the air unless you've got a bit of height against you. So unless you put Joe Linton up there again, which he did it last week, so we'll see. But I think in terms of Liverpool, you've just got to try and absorb. And I think the one thing Villarreal forgot to do was then attack, and they just kept absorbing. And I think Everton did the same. They didn't really attack them much. So I think, and I've put my prediction in the match preview. So go and watch that if you want to see what we all thought of that. But I think we can get at them, but I think it'll be a long, hard slog of a game, and then we'll kind of go at them from like 50 minutes to an hour mark when they're going to be desperate for the win, and they're going to be a bit more stretched and playing the game a bit more because they need it for the league. It's almost, I hate using the word free hit, but it is almost a free hit for us in terms of we're not mathematically safe, but it would probably be worse if we went down now than the actual achievement of where we are now. It's one of those crazy things, but I think they'll be rattled by the crowd, and I think there'll be some tired legs. But like we said in the match preview, like Liverpool could play their bench, and it would still be a world-beaten team. So I think it's going to be a tough game, though. I mean, it's obviously going to be a tough game. They're one of the best teams in the world, or the best team in the world, depending on how you want to look at it, really.
Ian, do you think we will benefit from the fact that there'll be less pressure on us? We are not mathematically, but we're technically safe. We have got players coming back, and I think somebody mentioned that maybe Howe's been a bit clever about not bringing Trippier back. I'm not sure whether bringing him back into a Liverpool to face Liverpool would be the wisest thing, despite his obvious quality. He's been out for a long time, but do you think this lack of pressure, I'm not going to call it a free hit, but do you think this lack of pressure will benefit us? Or do you think Liverpool's intensity, there's that natural ability, you do step back a little bit when maybe it's in your mind, you think you're safe. What do you think?
I would like to think that, like you say, we're not mathematically safe, but we're as good as. And I think in the first half against Palace, you've seen that. I thought it was probably one of the best half the football I've seen under Eddie Howe. I do think, I agree with Scott. Obviously, it's going to be a very, very difficult game. I think it will be 100 mile an hour, though. I think we'll try and get in their face early. I think we'll press them really high. But obviously, the quality that they have in terms of the wingers, Salah and Mane, you will have to be careful of that. But I think in terms of Liverpool, like I say, that I said this in the preview, they're just a different class from pretty much everyone bar City. They're up there with them. So they'll be able to hurt you from anywhere. But I think it'll be a frantic game. And I think I said, in fact, no, I'm not going to tell you what I said. You'll have to go and watch the match preview.
Put your cards close to your chest, son. I like it.
It's I'm taking the little one, so it's Joey's first game tomorrow, so he's absolutely buzzing for that.
What a game to go to! Super dad.
A super Mark as well, because he got the tickets. Although he had me life. He said that he was in another sandwich convention in Spain, and he would just make kickoffs. So I was just like, I was trying to find a polite way to say, no, I'll just come and pick the tickets up now. But no, it's he's looking forward to it. It should be a really, really good game. But yeah, like I say, Liverpool are always going to be able to hurt you. I mean, although, to be honest, I thought the game against Man U, they were awesome. And then Everton, I didn't think they were playing as well as they could. I think they played maybe the occasion more than the game. But
yeah,
Klopp's, for all I dislike him, he's a really good manager. He's got world-class players. So we'll need to be on with A game to get anything out of it.
Yeah. For me, it's one of those games where I think we used to get it when, you play these Man Cities, you play Arsenal teams of old, Manchester United teams of old, that I'm always of the thought of like just 11 men, like they are literally, they can have a bad, I think this is where the mind, the strength of the mind comes into these types of games where you can almost be beaten in the tunnel by this of being in awe of this side, but at the end of the day, well, apart from VAR possibly, but it's 11 against 11 and
anything can happen.
Anything can happen, like if we go at them like we did at the start of the Palace game, we might catch them cold and then they're all of a sudden like, shit, what we're going to do? So I think it's just, we need a raucous St James's Park, which I'm absolutely confident that we'll get. I think the players will be bang up for it. And I just think, I think I might have said we will get beat in that game. No, I said we'll draw because I think we will have a say in the title running, but I'm gonna go for a draw. I think a really hard battled, well fought draw. And I just want Tyndall to come onto the pitch before the game and just stand next to Klopp as he's watching as he watches us warm up. It's so annoying. It's the most annoying thing in football. Wow. Yeah, no, just stand with him. All right there, mate. How are you doing? Get a bit of Tyndall.
You should do a Stephen Taylor and just stand in front of him and wave his arms.
Wave his arms, jump up and down.
Yeah, like he obviously watches his team and then he'll stand on the centre spot and just watches the other team warm up. And it's like this psychological thing that he does where, if I was Duncan Ferguson last week for Everton, I
would have just nutted him.
I would have went on the pitch and been like, "Are you fucking looking at just giving one." But I think we'll have to fight fire with fire and just it's 11 men.
You've got
turn the sprinklers on, I'll get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe get war flags to block them. That would be a good idea. I am interested to see what war flags have got planned for this week because I saw a couple of pictures on Twitter of there's a few little flags in there, so I'm really interested, and that is going to be such an experience for your little one, Ian. I wish I was a little boy again now with a ticket for a Newcastle match because it's going to be absolutely take off City. Speaking of take off, season tickets have been announced. A lot of people got a nice message into their email address, their email inboxes to say that renewals were out and the deadline is, I think it's Tuesday the 19th of May. Yeah. So, and there's been a few increases to the prices, but Scott, Ian, I know obviously Scott, you're in Amsterdam and Ian, you're all the way in NE5, so it's difficult to get those tickets.
No, I'm not. I'm in NE28.
I thought you were NE5.
No,
I'm from NE5.
That's where Scott was originally from.
NE28. But do you think that it's gonna go back to the days where we're gonna have lines up before the game? We're gonna have, it's gonna be boom time, isn't it?
It is. It's a really exciting time. Obviously the football's a lot better under Eddie Howe. I think just all we've wanted for the last 14, 15 years is a club that's shown a little bit of ambition, a club that you can be excited about.
Yeah.
And I think especially for the likes of the younger generation. So I've got 2 nephews that are absolutely like football mad. It'll be a really exciting time for them to be a Newcastle fan, because obviously money doesn't equal success. We've seen that with the likes of Everton spending $500 million and the likes of Fulham spending over $100 million and getting relegated. But just I know it's probably a biased thing to say, but I just feel Newcastle's got a completely unique club, and with the financial potential that you have and the players that you could bring in, it is so exciting. So I think, obviously, I would say probably 99% of season ticket holders will be renewing, and then I don't think you'll be able to get a season ticket for years, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I was really fortunate. I had Jack Maine in under when Benitez left and Bruce came in, and I was just like, that was me done. And then weirdly, at the very start of the season, I was on my way to Edinburgh and I was like, should I get my season ticket again? And then got it, and then all hell broke loose in October, and here we are now thinking about not being able to get tickets for Love No Money, where we gave away 10,000 season tickets 18 months ago, which is absolutely bonkers. So I actually was reminiscing. I don't know whether you got involved with this, Scott, of somebody mentioned, I think one of our fans from New Zealand, I think it was, mentioned about whether the games used to be beamed back to the Odeon, the old Odeon on there.
Yep.
In Newcastle. Can you remember doing that? I remember being there. You're of a similar age to me, Scott.
Yeah, I never went, but I can remember it. I can remember them doing that. Yeah, and it's been knocked down now, hasn't it? That old Odeon. It burnt down, didn't it? So they could build stock and then whatever was coming after it. But I remember that, and I think they did them at the arena as well, if I remember rightly.
There was a short time. I'm sure it was an FA Cup, or it might have been a derby against. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
I think it was the Sunderland game when there was no away fans allowed. Yeah,
that was it. I do remember that. It's funny, isn't it? I think we'll get to that level again where people are going to want that crowd atmosphere, and watching it at home on telly. Yeah, it's nice. It's not the same, and if you kind of get a ticket, you want the next best thing, really. And not everyone likes to go to a pub, and not everyone likes to, likes that sort of atmosphere that, especially not families, they'll want a controlled atmosphere, or a bit more of a controlled atmosphere. So, I've seen them put stuff up at the Centre for Life. That's like sort of like fan zones would be good to have. Maybe even put something up at Exhibition Park if they could do and stream the game, or even for away games, put them on at St James's if the women aren't playing, because I think they're going to get a few more games at St James's. But it'll be good. I'm kind of hoping the whole ticket thing happens next season, because I'm trying to get one. I'm now definitely going to get one, hopefully, and fly back on most of the games. I found my old season ticket the other day from the Championship, and that was my last day in the country. Was the day we won the Championship, so I've kept my ticket because Vin Anita was on my flight as well when I came over to Amsterdam. So I knew he was leaving. It was kind of a bit of an ITK there, because I knew he was leaving because he wasn't hanging around a party or anything. He was off, but he did go to Leeds, surprisingly. So
that was very random. That was very random.
But I do think with the season tickets, I've got a little bit of hope that there will be a little more few available than people think, because so many people have jacked them in, and so many people were, they were giving away the tickets at the start of the season. There may be a few tickets still there for new people to buy them.
Yeah,
because there'll be a few empty seats. Like I'm hoping the Platinum Club will be somewhere I can get in, because it'll be easier to get a ticket. Not that I want to sit in there with the atmosphere, although I've not been in the Platinum Club for years. So I don't know.
I think just sitting inside the St. James's is what people want. Like
Yeah.
regardless way. I remember when I had my season ticket, it was always up in level 7. Because I mean, that's at the time that's where sort of was it the singing corner or whatever they called it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and I still maintain if I kept that season ticket, I would have been in the Olympics for like the marathon, because getting up them stairs is absolutely horrendous.
Epic. Those calf muscles came in handy there, I'm sure. So just something you touched on there, just about ideas around how to get player fans into the stadium and get them to watch Newcastle. El Grande discussing the women's team now. There's been a lot of buzz around the NUFC women's team over the last few weeks since the announcement that they were going to be playing at St James's Park on Sunday at 2 p.m. kickoff, and it's a cash turnstile. A lot of people, I looked, I was trying to find my tickets were, but it's a cash turnstile initially in the East Stand, but they're hoping, I don't know how this would work, but they're hoping to open up other sides of the stadium as and when they're needed. So, I think it's a fantastic thing, and I don't know if you guys have seen the video of the women's. There's a little compilation of the NUFC women's team being interviewed by the NUFC TV. The change of opponent as well. They were going to be playing Barnsley, but I believe they're playing Town
really?
now. Yep, I think I don't know why. I don't know the reason. I just think there's been a change in the fixtures of the women's league. So, Ian, I think we were talking before we came on. I'm taking my little girl and my niece. So I believe you're going to get yourself down there on Sunday as well.
Yeah, so it's literally a whole family affair. So as I mentioned before, got 2 nephews who absolutely love football. So my brother, sister-in-law are taking them. I'm going to go with me dad. I think he's coming, and then the little one as well. I think, like you say, it's just a good opportunity to see what the women's game are about, particularly because of the owners looking. I don't know if they've done it this season or the plan to do it, where they're going to sort of make them convert them to a professional team in line with the men's team, which is great. I used to have a couple of friends that used to play for the women's team as well when I was at uni, and sort of me early days and just sort of working part time. And to be honest, they are a decent quality. They're like I say, decent. I think they're on a decent run. I'm not sure if they've won the league or they're in a position to win the league this season, which shows sort of how far they've come. But no, it makes for even just a good family day out to see and experience what the women's game's like. And I've seen a couple of interviews that they're trying to just get more people interested in the women's team themselves and get down to the games. Because I think I can't remember where it's. Moncton Stadium, I think they play at the minute, possibly. So to play, especially for local lasses who dream about being a footballer and representing the city, and they get to do that in St James's Park, will be an absolutely amazing feeling, I bet, for them. So, and although obviously I've just been made aware that it's not Barnsley anymore. It's another local team as well. Obviously a couple of mile up the road, but nice little touch for the first game to be like an all Northeast affair sort of thing. Yeah,
that's true. Scott, £3 for adults and free children. They are hoping, and I know Becky Langley, the team manager, she's mentioned about trying to get a record attendance. They're hoping to get into over 10,000 fans in, but the current record's 38,262. So, what an achievement to get into the tens of thousands, but a wonderful opportunity for everybody, isn't it, Scott?
It is, and it's nice to see, because I think they've had so much neglect. Like every other part of the club. It's one of the first things that Amanda Staveley mentioned when she took over the club. Was like, yeah, you've got the men's team, and we've got to do stuff with the stadium, we've got to do the training ground, but also we've got a women's club, and we need to get that up on par. It's really nice. It was nice to see them training this week at the men's training ground. And I hate saying it's the men's training ground, at the Newcastle training ground. Like, it was nice to see them there, and I hope that continues. There was a lot of talk of when they build whatever they're going to build for the men's squad, they'll put the youth and the women in this one. And it's like, I'd rather just see them all at the same place and have it as one massive academy, one massive community, because I think I didn't watch the interview, but there was an interview today with one of the lasses who is from New Zealand, and Chris Wood.
With Chris
and
Wood,
it was like just nice to see that little crossover as well. Like you can just tell that the club really, really wants to put something in, because the women's football as a whole has come on leaps and bounds compared to when it was first kind of come about, and when it was first getting on TV. The World Cup was massively popular. Was it last year, the year before? I can't remember when it was. It's only starting as well, and I think if we can capitalize on it first, not only from a perspective of the women's game, but from the brand and getting the name of Newcastle United out there, there'll be a lot of young lasses in the region who probably don't even care about the men's team, and young lads as well, and they'll see that women's team and be like, that could be me one day, and it'll just encourage a whole host of more youngsters. I'm all for it. Like, I think the more the merrier. I think the Twitter account could do a little bit better with more content for the women. They show the games, but that's about it. Like, maybe get the press conferences on the website. I don't know if they do them. They might not even do them, but there must be other things happening. More interviews. It would be nice. And I think next season we'll see that big push. Yeah. I mean, and even get them on the YouTube channel, because that YouTube channel is predominantly match highlights. And that's about it. Like, we need just more on that as well from the NUFC side.
I think probably in the close season, as well as talent on the pitch, I think we will be recruiting talent off the pitch in all these different areas, like you said before, that have been neglected for all those years under our previous owner. So really good times ahead, and I'm really excited to take my daughter and my niece, and Raza's coming with us with Ella as well, so he's bringing his little one. So it's going to be an absolute barnstormer of a day. So hopefully get yourselves down there and support the lasses. And hopefully it'll be the first of many big attendance for the ladies, and they are pushing for promotion as well. Let's not forget, it's not just a day out in the sun. It's actually a really important game for them. So they are up near the top of the table. So any extra support, I'm sure, will be well appreciated.
I'm sure War Flag said that they're going to feature there as well. So I don't know if they're just going to dot around the East Stand, or if they've got like a little display. But I know that they're going to do something. Because I think was it the FA Cup they played against Ipswich at Kingston Park, and they had war flags around the side as well.
They did,
But really looking forward to it, especially with it being a bank holiday as well. You've got no excuse for not to go. You've got no work the next day, so get yourselves there, everyone. It'll be a really good day. Get
yourselves in. You might even see Ian.
You might.
We'll all have our Castor gear on.
Just don't approach us, because I don't know what I do. I'm not. I haven't dealt with fans yet, other than me mum.
Well,
we're all fans, Ian. Don't worry.
Thanks,
we've opened the door, Ian. So now people are just going to walk through it, and they're just going to greet you like an old friend. So, so we'll come to this Liverpool game. We're going to get a prediction really quickly, and then we'll get a prediction for the women's game as well. So, Ian, we'll go back to that Liverpool game on tomorrow. God,
yep.
I've had a crazy day setting up a 6-year-old party and doing stuff. So, Ian, what do you reckon result-wise for the Liverpool game?
So I think I went on the prediction. I went 2-2. I think earlier on when you were going through like you with me, Scott, and I think I predicted a loss, but I don't know. Something just tells us that it's going to be, like I say, a 100-mile-an-hour game. I think it'll be 2-2. The little one thinks a very, very optimistic 3-0 win for Newcastle.
Yes, I love it.
Again, Bruno's going to score in the last second. He's done that the last 4 matches since Bruno scored against Leicester. He's said that every match. So
yeah. And Scott, what do you reckon?
So on the preview, I'm going to stick with what I said. I think we'll nick a 1-0 win.
Yes,
like I said, I think it'll be the one of the worst games to watch from our side, because I think it will be all Liverpool pretty much for 75 minutes. But I think a 1-0. We'll nick a 1-0. If you want to see me full prediction, go watch a match preview, because that's what I'm about as well.
Yeah,
but 1-0.
Really get into it. Brilliant. I'm going to go ones each. I think ones each. We're gonna have a say in this title race one way or the other. So If we don't get a result against this lot, I think we might get something against Man City. But I think this is our chance to have a real big say. Just for the next minute or so, if anybody's got any predictions in the comments, I'll happily share those. If you want to go as far as, if you want to try and outdo Scott the Oracle or Scorical, I'm sure we'll have some keen people who will give a prediction. If you can nail it down to a minute and seconds, like Scott usually does, then I'll be very, very impressed. Very, very impressed. The women's game, I'm having known nothing about. I've never seen the women's team play. This is going to be my first time. I'm really excited to go and see them. So I'm just going to go with a steady 2-0. I'm going to go steady 2-0 for the Lasses on Saturday. Ian, what's your prediction for the Lasses game on Saturday?
So I haven't been to any games for years and years. Like you say, I used to have a couple of friends that played. I used to go on a Sunday when I was a little worse for wear after a Saturday. But I do follow them on Twitter, and I know they have been going really well this season. And I think there'll be a lot more goals than what you're predicting. So I'm going to go with a 7-0 win.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
well, call me conservative. Wow. Scott, what are you going for the women's game?
I also thought there's going to be more goals, but I don't think there'll be that many. I was going to say 4-0.
4-0. Lovely.
4-0
2-0, 7-0, 4-0. We'll take that.
Dan's
going with a 5-0 Away the Lasses. I think we'll bring it to an end there. We've got no Hall of Fame this week because we're missing a partner, so we're going to save that until next week. And actually, we might get into our most handsome 11. I think that's probably, the door's been opened on that one, so we might as well walk through it. But thank you to Ian, Scott for joining us this evening, and thank you to all those people in the comments as well. Dan, Tom, Kevin, El Grande, Dude61. I've just seen yours as well. So thank you very much for all those people who've joined us this evening live, and thank you to those people who watch later on. It really, really helps us to build the channel. And of course, as I mentioned at the very, very beginning there in that comment, we need to try and get up to 200 subscribers. £2.99 a month, and you get all that extra content. We also have obviously Scott here, and he does the Football Manager. Whereabouts we at with that? I know we're still in a relegation battle, but I believe we won the FA Cup, didn't we?
Yeah, won the FA Cup, and this week the last episode went up of the season. So it was the last 2 games against Leicester and against Burnley, because the Leicester game was postponed because of the FA Cup draw. I'm not going to tell you what happens. You have to go watch it. Nice. It's only went up a couple of days ago, so yeah, but it goes down to the wire, shall we say?
Oh, you little tease, love that.
Only one way to find out.
Exactly. So I think Kevin says it better than I could. Excellent. Okay, so you won the FA Cup. Oh, Scott, there's a shout for you to get a statue outside St James's Park. So
I'll get a stand named after us, but I've got to die apparently. So I'll stick with the statue.
Yeah, we'll stick with the statue when you're still alive. But like I say, thank you very much for joining us. Loads of extra content coming on the channel. We've got that Liverpool preview which I believe you two are involved in, aren't you? And we've got the Scott's journey as a football manager, which has come to an end, with an exciting end by the sounds of it. And also we have stuff with Ryan Taylor. And of course, going into the close season, we'll try and keep up with some content that goes through the close season. I might do mine from the holidays. You never know. You might see us in a bucket hat with me shirt on and loads of sunburn. So that's definitely worth hanging about for.
On the strip,
£2.99 if anyone's money that.
Oh yeah. That's on my OnlyFans, Aye. So, like I said before, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to all those people who've joined live and commented and got involved. Sorry if I didn't get to your comments. I do try and get to as many as possible. Thanks to the boss for watching as well. I'm not sure he's getting on the pitch this week, despite his amazing showing last week in winning the fun 8-8, kick the ball into the scoop thing type situation going on. So well done to Chris for that. He's still dining out on that, by the way. But everybody, whether you're watching it in the stadium, whether you're watching it at home, in the northeast, or whether you're watching it further afield like our friend Scott there, or if you're all the way over in, I think Nebraska, and maybe our South African friend might even be watching us as well. Enjoy the game, and if you are able to, get behind the Lasses on Sunday. It's £3 for grown-ups, and 0 for under 18s, which is an absolute steal. Fantastic. So hopefully a massive crowd. War Flags getting involved as well. So let's try and get a real bumper crowd for that. So thank you very much, and we will see you next time on Extratyne on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Everybody wave, gentlemen. Bye-bye.